Hey, Kate, what did you eat last night?
I had a quasi carbonara with lentil pasta. So I really am...
Break it down for me.
Yeah, well, break it down. So I'll start with the pasta. I'm in love with this lentil quinoa pasta that I get at Whole Foods that I really, really like, and it's pretty darn expensive. And there's a lentil version of it only from Trader Joe's, which is much cheaper. And I sometimes get that. It's not as good. The lentil quinoa one is so much better. I just also don't go to Whole Foods that often, so I don't always have it. But so it was lentil pasta, and it was basically a carbonara sauce. I made some bacon and took it out, and then ended up tossing the pasta in the bacon fat. And then in a separate bowl, I had beaten 2 eggs and some Parmesan cheese. And then I poured that in and stirred it all together until it cooked. So I didn't follow the correct ratio of ingredients for carbonara. But basically it was bacon, egg, and cheese on lentil pasta. It was delicious.
Yeah. Like, there's no reason going on. We just know that was good.
It was so good. It was so good. I'm salivating talking about it. It was so good. Yeah.
I have to really try that pasta too, because I'm done with all these sort of fake imitation pastas that I've been trying, and I have not tried that one.
Yeah. The Whole Foods one, the brand is POW, P-O-W, and I like the green box, which is made of green lentils. And it looks like regular penne, and I don't know if part of it is that I'm fooled because it's the same color and it's not red, which the other ones are. But that's my absolute favorite. But the red lentil one from Trader Joe's is adequate, but it's not going to fool anybody. But the other one almost could, I think.
All right, nice.
Yeah, super tasty. And sometimes I would throw peas in with that. Like I had leftovers, and when I heated up the leftovers, I'd put peas in. But It doesn't require it. Yeah. How about you? What'd you have?
I had a seafood paella.
Paella.
I know, right? And you know me. You know how much I just can't believe how much fish I've had lately, considering. We went through this whole fish episode where I'm like, I think I'm done eating fish because they're such smart creatures.
They rattle their bones to communicate.
But every place I've been, I'm like, God, I bet the fish is good here.
Right. Well, when you're in Hawaii, I mean, it would be foolish. Really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was really simple. You could have it 2 ways, obviously, with the chorizo. And a lot of places don't always make 2 variations. They'll sometimes say, well, we can keep the chorizo out. And then sometimes the sofrito sauce, that's the base of the paella, sometimes has a meat thing in it.
Oh.
So I don't always get it. Oh. But this one it was all seafood. So it was basically really fresh mussels, shrimp, calamari, clams. And then it had saffron rice and a sofrito, which is basically, a puree of bell peppers, tomatoes, cilantro, garlic, and onions. And that was a little mixture of spices in it. And the great thing about it is that it was cooked fresh. It was cooked to order. So everything came out really well. And the great thing about this paella was I believe all of the seafood was cooked individually because none of it was overcooked. And so often when you get these dishes with a lot of different seafoods in them, some things can get rubbery because they just throw everything in the pot all at once. And I think they also had some type of fish sauce in there because I think the rice just had this really, really great flavor of fish that I just think added to the whole dish. So it was really, really great. And I'm always so glad when I can get it because one, it's usually a little pricey, but this one was really affordable, surprisingly. And 2, it wasn't made with any meat components, so it made me really happy.
Yeah, you never know with paella, because I've had paella that doesn't have any fish in it. And it can be anything from no fish to all fish to combos of... Yeah. Did you get those crispy bits of rice on the bottom?
I did, yeah. It was really, really
my
nice.
favorite. When I was in Spain, I had a paella once because I was like, I have to have paella in Spain. And found one that was just like the chicken and sausage. It sounds lovely.
Yum. Hello and welcome to another episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I'm Rick.
And I'm Kate.
And this is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
With love, kindness, and compassion towards ourselves and others.
And just as a reminder, before you go any further, when you're done with this episode, make sure you rate and review us. Give us some stars, give us some comments. It's the best way for people to find us.
Or better yet, press pause right now and do it right now.
All right, great. So we're so excited. Hot Topics is our episode today. Boy, do we have a bunch of fun things that Kate and I are so excited about talking about. So many.
We do. What's in the news? What's going on? What's happening? What's the scoop? What's the buzz?
Stick with us. We're going to tell you everything you need to know.
Hot topics related to food and weight. How fun is that?
Completely fun. Hey, Kate.
Yes, Rick.
Rhoda's dead.
Rhoda's dead.
Yeah.
I know. I love Valerie Harper. And the reason we brought Valerie in as a hot topic here is because the character of Rhoda was meant to be fat. There was always references to her being fat and unattractive. And it was freaking Valerie Harper. She was thin and gorgeous.
So on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, when she was Mary's best friend, she was going to be the fat, unattractive one, right? The more masculine one. One the guys always made fun of.
Yeah, she was the foil to Mary's beauty. And it always, even as a kid, it just drove me crazy. I'm like, why is she making fat jokes? Kind of like Deborah Messing on Will and Grace. They always made fun of her for being fat. And it's like, she's not even a little bit fat.
You could see her ribs.
Right. So we love you, Rhoda, and cheers to Valerie Harper, who was a wonderful actor and an activist in her field.
Yeah, thank you for all the laughs. At the time of this recording, the hurricane storm Dorian is going to be making its way through the Bahamas. So I'd just like to give a shout out to, the best person in the way, Jose Andres, who has already flown down, set up shop in the Bahamas, ready to feed people.
Has he really?
Yeah. He's right. When I checked, he was 80 or 90 miles away from where the storm center was supposed to hit. So he's going to be ready to go. He's got his food there. He's got his volunteers there. It's odd. It's interesting. It's almost as if he's making a gambit that governments don't know how to take care of their people during a natural disaster.
Well, I think Florida is going to get a lot more government help than the rest of our country ever has after a storm.
Yeah,
call me crazy.
Who did they vote for? Do you remember, Kate? Isn't that interesting?
Yes, they're not going to be living in tents for a year. We hope. No. We hope. I'm not saying they should be. I'm saying nobody should be, of course.
No, it depends who they voted for. I joke, but not really. All right. Just don't send us, Kate and I, we just don't want another 100 letters with people complaining about something I said. That's a joke, but not really. Letters, right. I know.
So
where am I?
Sending letters to us, people.
If that mailman has to stomp up my stairs and drop an entire sack on my door, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
All right, so Kate, from the day this podcast airs, 102, that's what I have to say to you.
102.
102 days left until Christmas.
Oh, Rick.
I know how you like these warnings from me, because I give them to you from time to time.
Why would you say that? It's September. It's the very beginning of September. It's still summer.
Exactly. I'm so glad you're asking me why I would tell you that, Kate, because Archie McPhee, he's been making us question everything we ever thought we knew about candy canes for years. They've just announced Archie McPhee, a producer of candy. So remember, he introduces to pickle-flavored candy canes.
Pickle-flavored candy canes.
He also had mac and cheese candy canes. He also had rotisserie chicken candy canes.
Okay, wait. I have a quick question here. I'm assuming that these do not also have peppermint, right? Like it's exclusively those flavors.
Kate, I do not know because I have never tasted them.
Really? I'm shocked. But I can't imagine. Like I can almost see pickle and mint somehow, but mac and cheese and mint, that's ridiculous, right? Yeah.
All right. So here's what's coming at you. 3 new flavors. This is the breaking news that you need to be prepared for this Christmas. Because they say they're going to sell out. 3 new flavors are kale, ham, and pizza.
Because the one thing that one wanted about kale was a way to introduce the flavor into non-healthy foods.
Exactly. Well, the brand jokes that it gives you the flavor of kale with none of the dietary benefits.
I guess it's a joke gift, right? Because that is kind of funny. I mean, exactly. I could see potentially giving that as a joke.
Yeah, totally.
It's a novelty item.
Because so when you're hearing this episode, I mean, it's going to be in about a month. Stuff's going to start hitting the shelves, so you got to be on it, people.
All right. If any of you try any of those wacky flavors I did not even know existed, please write in and let us know how they are. We're dying to know.
All right, I'd like to jump back to the storm that's going to be battling the coastline of America, most likely. Because this got me thinking, as you know, such things do, Kate, about disasters and preparatory procedures for disasters.
Right, your end of days obsession.
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. Did you know that if you need extra storage for food, keeping things in your washing machine is a great thing to do?
Oh.
You can pack the food with ice in your washing machine because it'll drain out as it melts and after it melts. So you put all your food in there, pack it with ice. And the metal,
my God, that is so smart.
Isn't it? The metal will continue to help keep the food cold after the ice melts. Isn't that neat?
That is actually super clever. That never occurred to me.
And remember, if we're losing power, be sure to plan ahead. During storms, you can store water in your bathtub so you have some ready for the toilet and for boiling. That I did not think of.
Totally. I do that whenever my water is shut off here. That's one of the things I learned from my mother. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Mama.
And then here's listening. The thing. Dishwasher. A dishwasher is a good place to keep things dry if you're worried about them getting wet. And this can be some food items because it's sealed off, right? It's got a seal on it. So you could put like some perishables in there that you don't want to get soaked, like your rice, your beans or any grains, and keep them dry.
Your chips.
Chips? Yes, the chips.
Oh my God, that is so clever.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yes. That's super clever. Thank you. Preparedness. Yes, we're a public service announcement, really, is what we are.
And it really means, and it really makes me rethink my end of days budget. So that's good to know that I have some other storage options in my building. That makes me happy.
It's true, but once you fill your washer with ice, really how much is going to fit in there?
True. Well, the good news is there's like 4 washers down below in the basement. So I could go co-op those, and then I just have to put all my stuff in them and then stand guard over them during end of days.
That's bound to go well.
Hey, Kate, did you know that 1/3 of the food that's produced in this world goes to waste?
No.
Yeah, so it goes to waste because either people throw it out, or like in transportation, it doesn't make it, or it just goes bad while growing it. It like rots in the field. So I'm bringing you up because one of the hot things going on nowadays is what's going on in France right now. They introduced this new French law, which just made it really impossible for restaurants to throw away food. Do you know about this?
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah, and they said it's a resounding success. A report just came in. So basically, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, if food waste were its own country, it would be the 3rd largest emitter of greenhouses after the U.S. and China. Food waste. That's what it could be its own country. America wastes up to 40% of the food it produces. In France, in 2016, large grocery stores have been banned from throwing away unsold food that could be donated to charities. Now they have systems in place to donate food. Another benefit of them donating the food is stores can take advantage of a pre-existing tax break on as much as 60% of the inventory value of donated food. So they can get rid of stuff that is about to expire, so they can be really proactive about it. He says it is Eric Chabert, a supermarket director, says the law has improved his store's food waste management. He says the bill has substantially increased food donations from large grocery stores. And he said that 2,700 supermarkets send nearly out-of-date food to nearly 80 warehouses around the country, rescuing 46,000 tons of food a year that would otherwise be thrown away.
Wow.
And donations to food banks are up more than 20%, according to the government. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is. I'm so happy that that's happening.
Yes, and how can that not be happening here? It still seems so hard because of litigation possibilities that food can't be donated. And dumpster diving is still a really big thing behind restaurants.
Well, I'm glad at least somebody's using it, but that is completely absurd. And you would think with all the whole tax, I don't know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, totally. Here's some other breaking news. Do you ever eat at Dairy Queen?
It's been a long time, but I used to be a fan of the Blizzard.
Oh, I used to love the Blizzard. That was the only thing I ever really got there, I think.
Yeah.
Well, here's the good news. Dairy Queen has assured us that their burgers aren't made of human meat.
Thank God.
So there was a rumor that started
Why
spreading.
would they need to assure us of that?
Let's look down towards South Carolina and find why. A rumor started spreading last week because a South Carolina Dairy Queen got invaded by federal agents. And the rumor was
that really happened, or that was the rumor?
This is real. So the rumor was that they're making burgers with human flesh. So this is why the FBI decided to investigate them.
Are they going to go to the woods and make sure that there isn't like a couple making out in a car and a hand scratching on the roof? Like, it sounds like such an urban legend. It's such a ridiculous thing for them to actually go and storm a Dairy Queen.
Doesn't it? I mean, like, who reports it? So the manager of a Greenwood...
Like that pizza place in D.C. where Hillary was doing some kind of trafficking in the
basement.
basement.
Yes, with the children in the basement.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, Comet Ping Pong. A manager of a Greenwood, South Carolina Dairy Queen was notified the alarm in his restaurant was set off, which led him to go there as fast as he could. When he arrived, he met all the government investigators and federal agents there. He was told by an inspector that there was an official complaint about human meat being used to make their burgers.
Human meat.
And it was because of two people who had no relation to Dairy Queen were allegedly running a money transfer business in the area. And they were reportedly hiding, and this is what doesn't make any sense, they just said, and they were reportedly hiding an unlocked safe with $200,000 inside the Dairy Queen in question. So clearly someone in the Dairy Queen was running a money laundering business. So they said, if you're still not convinced, this is what they tweeted. This is what made me want to share this whole story. Even if you're not convinced, the country coroner told the paper, there's little to no chance of anything like that ever being able to happen. I love how they got the coroner to chime in.
Oh, that's it? That's it?
Yeah.
That's all he said? Okay.
Thanks.
I can't believe they would take that seriously and actually storm a Dairy Queen.
Don't
That
you
is
think
really
that's
bizarre.
weird?
Speaking of fast food,
Yes.
I am absolutely shocked by what appears to be our nation's love of chicken sandwiches. I think I had really underestimated the extent to which this country enjoys a chicken sandwich. Because this whole Popeyes now having a chicken sandwich, when it first started coming on the internet, I was like, looking for what the point was. Like, oh, okay, there's a new chicken sandwich from Popeyes, and what's the point? Is it made from humans? Like, what is it? And the answer was apparently that it exists, which I find completely amazing.
And that's it?
Yes! Apparently, there is nothing special about it except that it's a delicious chicken sandwich. And I was thinking that maybe it was that everyone was so excited that it wasn't Chick-fil-A, which of course tastes like homophobia, and was assuming that it was just that. And apparently it is simply the fact that it exists that people are really excited about.
Wow. So Popeye's like come into the 21st century. So
I guess, like, apparently they have run out of these chicken sandwiches because there are people waiting. People are waiting in line for an hour for a chicken sandwich from Popeyes.
Wow. Do you remember the last time I went to Popeyes, Kate?
I do.
Would you like to tell the people why I was at a Popeyes and why I never went back?
Oh my God. I don't remember all the details. You were taking me to, do you mean the time that the drive-through? Yeah, you were taking me to the airport, and we stopped at a drive-through so I could get a snack, I guess, on the way to the airport.
And we're like, how long can this take?
Right, exactly. And what happened? Well, it was bad, but I don't remember exactly what happened.
So we get in the drive-through line, and it was just a thing where you couldn't get out of the line because it was cement on both sides, and it's taking forever and all the time. And there's obviously someone in front of us and there's cars behind us, so there's no way to get out. You can't just pull out to the side.
And the mic was broken or something.
Yeah, it turns out we get up there. The mic was broken. So they were at the window. They were taking each order and fulfilling it. And all the time, we're like, Kate's got to make a flight. Kate's got to make a flight. Kate's got to make a flight. It was so psychotic. So we came out of the Popeyes and then we tore up the BW Parkway to the BWI airport.
I have a feeling that as soon as we got to the front, we didn't even order at that point. We just sped off. Because
I can't even remember.
Because at that time, I do believe I made the flight. But you know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of the time in college when we used to eat at Popeyes.
Oh, my God.
I remember making a comment once as we were sitting there eating fried chicken, and I made a comment about how barbaric it was that we were ripping the flesh of this chicken off the bone with our teeth. And I remember how completely freaked out and disgusted you were by that.
Really?
Yes. It was one of the
funny.
early things I think of you just being like, oh, no, to me. Because I was saying it as a joke, but like I remember it registering with you as something real.
Oh, that's great. I have no memory of that.
Isn't it weird the things one remembers? Like, I don't know why I would possibly remember that.
Oh.
Totally. So, yeah, apparently, right, because Chick-fil-A, if anybody's unaware, donates money to anti-LGBTQ causes, I guess, is the easiest way to put it.
Anti-women causes, and they have spoken out against Black Lives Matters as like a real thing.
Oh, good. Okay, so that too. So I've never tasted Chick-fil-A, and it's a bummer because I hear it's delicious, but it's one of those things that I've drawn a line in the sand about, like I won't go to Jimmy John's because their owner is a big game trophy hunter, so I won't go to Jimmy John's either. But I hear Chick-fil-A is awesome, and sometimes it's the only thing, and I'm like, well, whatever, nothing then. But so, and I mean, I like a chicken sandwich. I would have said as much as the next person, but obviously not. Obviously, I like it a great deal less than the next person because I'm not about to wait in line for an hour for any kind of chicken sandwich.
Well, it's funny you say that. I have two things to see. Cardi B, the rap singer, do you know her?
Not personally, but I've heard of her. Yeah.
So she couldn't get one on the East Coast. So she literally flew across the country, Kate, to go to LA to get one of the things. And then she started tweeting about it.
Is that what did this? Is it all Cardi B's fault, do you suppose, that this is now a thing?
That's a great question. I don't know, because you got to wonder how it got so popular and why were people caring?
That is what I wonder.
And I can't read it because there's so much cuss language in it, but she was basically tweeting about it. And she basically was saying that she couldn't get any of the chicken sandwiches on the East Coast because of all you fat, people eating them up.
Damn.
And so I said I had to go out to LA to get them, where all those skinny people are just eating kale and vegetables, and there were plenty of chicken sandwiches to eat. So crazy.
That is funny.
It's like, thank you, Cardi B, from the stripper pole.
Little rude. Like, let's not fat shame in the middle of your desire for a fried chicken sandwich, please.
I know, right? Way to throw down on the fat shaming. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Oh, before you go on, I just wanted to jump back and say, another in our public services announcement, what you said about the whole Chick-fil-A thing. Mm-hmm. So they were supporting all those causes, and there was a big, everyone was going to ban, what do you call it, boycott them, which a lot of people did. But then that was also the same day that a lot of people decided, you know what, we're going to go to Chick-fil-A, and there were Chick-fil-A lines around the corner. So there was this big debate. So I'm saying this in case you think your money doesn't mean anything about where you spend it. So granted, they had a lot of sales that day from all the people that went out and support, particularly all the super religious people. But what he came to say later, it was about 6 months, 8 months later, which no one really seems to know about, is he said that he regretted saying how much he wants to ban, how much he's
sorry, who is he?
The owner of Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
He regrets being so vocal about his opposition to gay marriage. He said he still disagrees with gay marriage, but he regrets being vocal about it because in the end run, it hurt his bottom line because people stopped going. So even though they had an influx of sales that day from people supporting them, those aren't the people that are there for the long haul. Like people that really know how to boycott and that are up for a cause, they know how to sustain the long game. So he basically said it taught him that he just should keep his mouth shut, which is really what we all want from people in position of power, right?
Or like to not be freaking bigots would be better.
You're right. That would totally be better. But given that.
Right, exactly. Although I'm glad he was vocal because there's times that I have literally had no option but Chick-fil-A and then I've just skipped the meal because I'm like, I'm not eating at Chick-fil-A. But if I hadn't known that, I would have eaten there. So I'm glad he's been vocal about it.
Yeah, so he just says he'll keep, he won't talk about it anymore, which I guess is good. Thank you so much. October 1st is an important date, Kate.
Why is that?
Haagen-Dazs Peppermint Bark Ice Cream is returning to the stores.
Well, I love me my peppermint ice cream.
That's why I put it on the list.
That's very kind of you. Peppermint bark, on the other hand, is full of white chocolate. And you might know. This is for you, Amy Wink. White chocolate can kiss my ass. However, I would probably not turn down Haagen-Dazs Peppermint Bark ice cream.
So the flavor is going to come in two forms. The Peppermint Bark Pint, which blends white chocolate ice cream with crunchy chocolate peppermint bark pieces, and peppermint candy pieces. So there you go.
Wait, two different kinds, though?
Yeah, it says the Peppermint Pint, which the flavor comes in two forms. The Peppermint Bark Pint.
Oh, I see.
Which blends white chocolate ice cream with crunchy chocolate peppermint bark pieces and peppermint candy pieces.
So they're both white chocolate, though.
Yeah, both white chocolate.
Damn it!
I know, right?
All right,
even Haagen-Dazs is out to get you. So say you don't want Haagen-Dazs. Here's a big thing everyone should know. Boston Market is giving one person 2,000 pounds of macaroni and cheese.
I'm racking my brain coming up with a reason for why that might be before I ask you why, but I can't come up with one, so please tell me why.
Boston Market is launching a rewards program called Rotisserie Rewards. And to celebrate, the chain is offering the chance to win 1 ton of your choice of side dish. So this is how you win. You need to be the first person that signs up for the program and actually racks up 10,000 rotisserie reward points. So you got to be the first one to reach 10,000 points, keeping in mind that each point is equal to $1, which means you're going to be eating a whole lot of Boston Market.
Okay, but here's what I really need to know. Like, how do they deliver that ton? Is it like you get to have mac and cheese for life, presumably? You don't have to have it all at once, right? I mean, like, what?
That is a great question.
What could a human being do with a ton of mac and cheese?
Sleep in it? I don't know.
I know. I mean, I suppose like there's going to be some kind of kink subset that would enjoy that. But my Lord.
How funny is kink subset?
Well, it's all I can think of.
So when I used to go to Boston Market, I used to go for the sides because at the time, I remember, oh my God, Boston Market, the sides are so good. They were the creme de la creme. I haven't been there in years, though.
Here's the thing.
Yeah?
I find it to be kind of alarming of a thing. Apparently, researchers are working on a brain implant that is the same kind of implant that's used to treat seizure disorders where they zap you with electric shocks. And it's supposed to zap people with an electric shock when they think about food as a way for morbidly obese people to lose weight.
Wow.
So I read the full article because I heard this on Wait, Don't Tell Me actually the other day. And then I had to look into it because I'm like, but people have to eat. Like, how does that work?
Right.
And so they say in the article, one of the challenges is going to be separating thinking about healthy food from unhealthy food. It's like, well, duh. But apparently I think it's supposed to works on the reward center of the brain. So the part of your brain that's thinking about food is a reward. And it's for people who are in serious danger of dying because of obesity. It's obviously not just for people who want to lose a little bit of weight. And it is maybe, if I understood the article correctly, I didn't read any sort of in-depth study. It was just an article, that it will maybe focus on thoughts relating to binging in particular, as opposed to just eating. So I don't know. But yeah, apparently there's going to be a way that people can implant something in their brains and get zapped.
I am simultaneously revolted, but also super intrigued.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Particularly now that you've talked about the separation of thought idea.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. If they could really figure out the thing between what are considered good foods and bad foods, or the reward center thing, I could be open to it.
Yeah, it says there was also a concern that the stimulation could cause feelings of depression and anhedonia, which is a loss of interest in things and a general inability to experience pleasure.
Wow. Okay, that would be a bummer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we're going to have a chip in our head one way or the other at some point. You know it's coming.
I'm going to resist the chip.
Resist the chip. Neither of us really went to Taco Bell that much. I used to love Taco Bell when I was in college, but I put this in here because I thought it's Taco Bell is saying goodbye to some popular menu items this September. So you got to get your game on after this.
The only thing I ever used to eat at Taco Bell was bean burritos for some reason.
Well, they're not getting rid of them. Well, that's the ones I used to eat because that's a lot of vegetarians used to eat them because at the time they were one of the few refried beans that weren't made with animal lard.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought it was funny for the list of things they're getting rid of. So here's what they're cutting out. A beefy mini quesadilla, chips and salsa, Chipotle chicken loader, the double-decker taco, the Cool Ranch tacos, the fiery Doritos Locos tacos, the double tostada, the power menu burrito, and wait for it, the XXL grilled stuffed burrito.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot of things that they have had there.
A lot of large things, high caloric things. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Although the mini burrito didn't last, or the mini quesadilla either. Whenever I see commercials for Taco Bell, it's like they're really working hard to create new weird caloric bombs.
Yes, it feels like so many fast food chains are actually making the choice to find a balance with more healthy items. Taco Bell seems to have gone the completely opposite way.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we're diving in and we're going to go full fat.
Totally. You know how obviously Burger King has the Impossible Burger now?
Yes.
Apparently, KFC is exploring a plant-based chicken sandwich.
Really? Mm-hmm. This is so fascinating. Mm-hmm. This whole movement.
Fried chicken sandwich, of course. So it's going to be fried. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I read one of the Impossible Burgers are arguably no healthier for a person than meat is because of all the weird chemicals and toxic stuff that's in them. But the argument is that they're better for the planet than meat, and that's one of the reasons it's better. And then I read something quickly, but I wish I'd retained it because I couldn't find it again, that said actually all the processing that goes into it is just as bad of a carbon footprint as animals. I have no way to assess whether that's true, but if it is, then I'm super bummed.
That's a bummer. Yeah, I find it hard to imagine that it's going to be less. Because one thing I've always heard
that
in
what's going to be
restaurants,
less?
that the carbon footprint is going to be less if we go to these other, fake burgers. Because as I ate out many, many years ago and up till now, a lot of times I'm often struck how often like a veggie burger is more expensive than a regular burger sometimes. Just as
I think
much
they
or
are
as
at Burger
expensive.
King.
Wow, there you go.
I haven't checked, but I think they might be.
And I remember having a conversation one time with a restaurateur, and he said, yeah, because they're more expensive than beef. I'm like, wow, there you go. Mm-hmm. Were you ever...
And they should not be, because that just tells us how ridiculous our meat husbandry industry is.
True. You're right. I was going to say it speaks of the whole profit thing or capitalism thing for the veggie burger thing, but you're right. It also just speaks to like how exploited the whole animal thing is. Yeah,
totally. I always think about how when we interviewed Skylar about service industry stuff last year, she said at one point how ridiculous it was that where food prices were and that nobody should be able to get a burger for $10.
Right.
Because a burger should just cost more than that if everything about it is done properly.
Wow. Yeah, totally. Were you ever a fan of the show Supermarket Sweep?
Not even sure what that is. So
the premise was that contestants would race around a grocery store on a time limit and try to make the value of the food in the cart as high as possible. And the team that had the most expensive cart wins the whole thing.
Okay.
And it was really big in the 60s. It went through a reboot in the 90s. So it's getting rebooted this fall with Leslie Jones from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And she's leaving Saturday Night Live. Did you know this?
No.
Yeah, she's no longer going to be on Saturday Night Live, but don't fear. You'll be able to find her on the reboot of Supermarket Sweep.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, totally fascinating. So this next list I'm going to put under fall. So of all things that are going to be coming at you this fall, did you know, Kate, that you can now buy glow-in-the-dark Reese's, Kit Kats, and Hershey bars this Halloween?
Wait, you mean the candies themselves or the wrappers?
I was waiting for you to ask that. The wrappers. Yeah, the wrappers.
Oh, thank you, Lord. All right.
It's a limited edition that dropped last Halloween, and it was so
fun.
popular, it's going to come back. And they
that would be super fun for trick-or-treating.
Yeah, they said they tend to sell it quickly, and they said they make your bowl, that you have to give candy out, look really great. It also makes the bags that kids take away look really fun and interesting. Yeah.
Oh, that is fun.
So along that same line, these are some other things coming at you this fall that you've probably seen it, but I just want to make sure everyone has a comprehensive list of how fall influence their food can be. And I just want to get your reaction to these.
Okay, I'm ready.
Pumpkin spice Milano cookies.
Would probably be tasty.
Kellogg's pumpkin spice frosted flakes.
Again, would probably be tasty because pumpkin spice is just, warm spices, right? Like cinnamon, nutmeg, clove. So that'd probably be good on a cereal.
Special K pumpkin spice crunch.
Okay, good.
Pumpkin spice Cheerios.
All right.
Thomas pumpkin spice bagels and English muffins.
Nope. You lost me there.
Philadelphia pumpkin spice cream cheese spread.
Not for me.
Pumpkin spice jello.
I'm imagining it, and I'm horrified.
Land O'Lakes pumpkin pie butter spread.
Well, all right. I could see how people would like it.
Planters pumpkin spice almonds.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good.
Pumpkin wine.
Pumpkin wine. Pumpkin spice wine or pumpkin wine?
Pumpkin wine. Chardonnay-like, pumpkin forward, and extremely cheap is the description.
So this is one of the issues I have with pumpkin spice is that I think people conflate pumpkin and pumpkin spice, and that there are some things that actually, because they couldn't be more different. The flavor of pumpkin and pumpkin spices are radically different things, and I think we get a little cavalier about it. So I'm betting the wine is actually pumpkin, not pumpkin spice. Well, I just don't want either of those, basically, so it doesn't matter.
And Mexican chili pumpkin mole.
Oh, that's actually probably good.
Yeah, that's the one that sounded the most appealing to me.
Yeah, that's probably delicious. Yeah, like whenever, there's times that I see people referring, like even on the kitchen and stuff, like I see people talking about pumpkin spice, but saying pumpkin. And I'm like, those are not the same thing.
Yes, totally. And M&M's is bringing back its white pumpkin pie and candy corn flavors for Halloween. And did you know that
Wait, are you saying there's candy corn flavored M&Ms?
Yeah, that's what it says.
But I thought the whole thing about candy corn is that it's nothing but corn syrup. It doesn't have an intrinsic flavor.
It says M&M's is bringing back its white pumpkin pie and candy corn flavors. Yeah, for Halloween.
What the hell is white pumpkin pie? That doesn't make sense either.
The white pumpkin pie candy has, I'm going to tell you, Kate DeVore, because I'm on
Rick
it.
Fiore.
The white pumpkin pie candy has a white chocolate center that's flavored with a pumpkin pie taste. The white candy corn is made with white chocolate and infused with candy corn flavor. Each bag has 3 colors that go perfectly with the flavor. They look great in candy bowls, scattered across a table, or even baked into fall treats such as cookies and brownies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can pick them up at Target.
Okay. I've still never tried the Nutella ones, which I actually would kind of like to do.
Oh, I never did either, yeah. I did not realize this, but did you ever drink Mountain Dew?
Hang on a second. We have to talk about this. There is actually, I just looked up candy corn ingredients, and I have to share this with you. Coming into fall foods, we'll talk about candy corn. So
we're still on topic.
Exactly. Candy corn isn't just sugar. It's made up of several ingredients, including sugar, corn syrup, confectioner's glaze, which I thought was sugar, salt, dextrose, gelatin, sesame oil, artificial flavor, honey, yellow number 6, yellow number 5, and red number 3. It also contains gelatin, a protein made from animal parts like hides and bones.
Huh, all right.
So candy corn is not vegetarian.
Good to know.
All right, so it's good. They're putting some horse parts in the M&Ms. All right, what else? So, Mountain Dew. There was this little period in my life when my mother was selling those magnetic window washers at the Woolworths that I ended up going to the fair in Canada for when I was like 8 or something in New York City. And I used to hang out at this Woolworths in New York City in the 70s or early 80s, and I would hang out at the counter where they did the t-shirt decals. I could still smell that smell of the iron-on t-shirt decals from the 70s and 80s.
Totally.
Do you remember that? Like from the
Yes.
beach? And I would get free sodas, and Mountain Dew was my drink of choice that summer. So I have a very, very strong association with a time in my life of Mountain Dew, and it was literally just that summer.
Nice. Well, the good news is they're coming out with Voodoo.
Oh, thank God.
They say it's finally arrived, as though they've been waiting for it for years. It hits stores. It hits stores as we're recording today. So it'll be there when this podcast publishes.
Thank God.
It says, people say from Instagram, it tastes like a dreamsicle. It tastes like every other mystery flavor I've ever had. It's going to be a perfect Halloween drink.
So we literally don't know what it is. It's just voodoo. It doesn't even have a description.
I could not even find what was in it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. It tastes like every other mystery flavor I've ever had. I love that
Isn't that
person.
the best statement?
Yes.
That's the only reason I put it in there, because I love that quote.
It's awesome.
Dairy Queen has a new cinnamon roll shake. Now that sounds sort of good.
Oh my God, that sounds delicious.
Doesn't it sound wonderful?
Is it made of humans?
We're going to check our sources on that.
So this isn't a hot topic as much as it's a fun fact.
Exactly.
No, what I'm about to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Which is apparently there is something called Cheese Camp, which is like a big cheese makers workshop gathering that happens.
Yeah.
And I was reading this article about American cheese, not the product that's known as American cheese, but cheese that comes from America. And, you know, how it gets a bad rap and all that. And so at Cheese Camp, apparently, they have a number of karaoke songs that they sing. And one of them is called Curds and Whey. And it's sung to the tune of Purple Rain.
Kate.
Curds and whey, curds and whey. And the lyrics are like, I never said you were just solids. I never meant to send you down the drain. There's only one way to get them both together. Only once you cut the vat do you see curds and whey.
Curds and whey. Curds and whey. Oh, my God.
Yeah, just wanted to share.
That's hysterical. Thank you. That's the best ever.
I love that the cheesemongers have such a sense of humor.
I love that.
Cheesemakers,
and that's a great story before I go into this next one.
Okay, good. I'm ready.
Did you know that there is this big lawsuit against Grubhub?
No.
Yeah, so this is super interesting. So I'm going to break it down a little bit. You know, because you and I have had numerous conversations, even recently as last week, I think, about the whole tipping situation on apps and, you know, do you tip in cash? Are we thinking that the drivers are actually getting it? We have the answers, Kate. So earlier this year, a suit was brought by this guy who owns Tiffin, a restaurant in Philadelphia, and he argues that Grubhub has been counting non-order calls as orders and charging restaurants for things like customer questions or complaints. So the way it works is when someone signs up with Grubhub, they get listed, and then Grubhub assigns that restaurant a phone number. So if you call the phone number listed on Grubhub, it routes through Grubhub to the restaurant. So Grubhub's tracking every call that goes to the restaurant through their number.
And so when the restaurant answers that phone call, they know it's a Grubhub call?
The restaurant doesn't know it, but Grubhub knows that it's going to the restaurant. Okay. And so that they're sort of charging for a service, right, to link them up. And the restaurants are saying that basically the majority of calls are about where's my meal? Why is it late? If anyone's ever ordered from Grubhub. That's
right, which is usually not the restaurant's fault, I'm guessing, but who knows?
Yeah, and it's all that ever happens to me. My stuff from Grubhub is always late. So, and they also say if a customer wants to call a restaurant before placing an order, they're likely to use the number listed on the app. And then Grubhub uses an algorithm to determine whether or not the call is an order. But according to the restaurant owners, this restaurant owner and other restaurant owners, they're getting charged up to $9 per call for calls that are not orders. In a statement, Grubhub noted that they use this algorithm they use. It has it's a number of factors that goes into identifying phone calls, which are driven by marketplace, including the duration of the call and the number of times a diner has called. The lawsuit argues that diners primarily call the restaurants to check on the status of their delivery orders and to ask questions about the menu. And so this just led me to thinking about this whole tip thing we've been talking about. According to this guy, Chris Webb, he's a CEO of Chow Now. He says some apps are charging as much as 50 cents per dollar ordered. More hover between 15 to 30% per order.
Charging who? The restaurant?
Yeah. So basically, when you sign up to work, they sign up to work with these apps. They're paying a fee to use the app.
A substantial fee.
Yeah. App orders have a lower profit margin, but the percentage of a restaurant's business that is made up of app orders is growing so fast that it affects the overall margin of the restaurant. So you have these app orders, right? They're doing a lot of business with app orders, but they have a lower profit margin. And they're starting
Fascinating.
to kill businesses. Yeah.
And that explains also why you can have a dish in a restaurant that's amazing and then you order it a few weeks later and it's totally a different dish. Maybe they don't put the same care into it for the delivery version.
Possibly,
because they're only being paid half.
Valid point, Kate.
I don't blame them, sort of. I mean, it sucks, but wow.
And it's going so far, this article in the New York Times is talking about how even all these restaurants in India of all places, they're in protest right now because they're fighting steep commissions and discounts on a lot of apps over there because it's killing their businesses. So then this led me to the whole idea about tipping on the app and how do we tip the people that bring us our food. And this is what was really interesting is that all of these third-party apps that restaurant uses, they hire people. And all these people, because they're considered contractors, they're not considered employees. So they don't have to pay them the minimum wage. So all of these third-party companies like Grubhub and DoorDash, they originally were going to be like, we're just going to pay you a certain fee, right? And you'll get tips on top of that, maybe even. So here's how this breaks down. So the law requires delivery workers employed directly by a restaurant to earn at least the minimum wage, but those who deliver for third-party companies are often classified as independent contractors. So DoorDash, this is what's so interesting. DoorDash is one of the most frequently used alongside Grubhub, and it said that it would recently change its tipping policy to pass 100% of tips onto workers, rather than its previous method of paying workers of a flat rate of delivery. So get this. This is how DoorDash works.
Oh, my God.
So DoorDash used to say, we're going to pay you $6.85 per delivery. Now, say a customer tipped $5, they would use that $5 to make up that part of that $6.85, and then DoorDash would make up the difference.
Wow.
So, right?
From the fee, the DoorDash fee, which is already another $5 or $6.
Yes, exactly. So if the customer tipped $5, DoorDash would make up the difference of $1.85, right? So basically, the customer wound up paying the bulk of these contractors' salary. And
more to the point, if you tip high, the server's not getting it, which really sucks.
Exactly.
Do you know what Grubhub's policy is about the tips?
Yeah. So let's go to Grubhub. So Grubhub determines a delivery.
So just to summarize, DoorDash is now doing it correctly.
So they're guaranteeing, they're paying a delivery fee to the people that deliver, and they get to keep 100% of the tips.
It never occurred to me that they wouldn't. I am so naive.
Yeah. Isn't this amazing?
Back
because
to Grubhub.
This is one of those things that a friend of mine just got a job working in the DC government that deals with, taxis and delivery services and the regulation of them. And she basically referred to all these Uber drivers and these food delivery drivers as the new, what did she say? It's the new working poor. They're making so little money, but they're working so hard. So here's what Grubhub says. Grubhub determines a delivery driver's pay separately from tips he or she earns. A driver's total order earnings are determined based on time and mileage, in addition to the full tip from the diner, the spokesperson said.
Good.
So the pay calculation takes into account mileage at pickup and drop off, right? So they don't have particularly a flat delivery fee that they're paying them, but they're basing it on this weird algorithm they use between where they picked it up, where they're dropping it off, how much time they spent waiting, et cetera, et cetera. And then the driver keeps 100% of the tip.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's a relief. Yeah. I'm surprised, though. So that means that a Grubhub driver who brings me an order from a restaurant close to me is getting paid less than if I order from a restaurant further away.
And I think it also depends how far that driver has to get to that restaurant near you, Kate.
If that would be better if they were already far away.
Yeah.
But it sounds like no matter what, they're getting paid less if the restaurant's close to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And let's go to Uber Eats. A spokesperson for Uber Eats said couriers get 100% of customer tips. Users can tip their delivery person via the Uber Eats app. And once the order is complete, they are asked to rate the delivery and then give the person and then they give an additional option for a tip. At the end of this article, they all say, at the end of the day, cash is king. Tip your driver in cash, which is what you had told me that you tend to do. Yeah.
If I have it, because I tend to tip $5 usually, because I usually don't order. That's usually in the 20% range, and so if I have a $5 bill, I will tip in cash. Or 5 singles, but if I don't, then I'll put it on the card. It feels awkward to me to ask for change in a tip, which it shouldn't. They would probably prefer it if I did, and maybe I'll start, but. Do you know what I mean? It just feels weird to be like, totally. I only have a $20. Do you have $15? Like, that seems weird.
Totally. And I'm so bad at keeping cash in my house. I'm really bad at it. So this whole idea of this hot topic was, we're going to see how the lawsuit shakes out. And hopefully we'll be able to report on that. But basically the idea is it's so important for us, for those of us that eat out a lot, to remember how hard these people are working and how they're making their money. And they're not making that much money.
We also need to be better about it in restaurants, I think. I think it's true there too, right? I think it's just everybody prefers a cash tip.
Yes, agreed.
So, like, it might be worth for somebody like you that doesn't tend to keep cash on hand, like, go to the bank and get a stack of fives.
Agreed.
And just have it, next time you're at the bank.
I thought we'd close this episode, Kate, with a crisis at one of your favorite...
It's always a lovely way to end things.
A crisis at one of your favorite chocolatiers, Cadbury.
In England?
Yeah. Have you heard about this
scandal? No.
So Cadbury recently released the Unity Bar in India for Independence Day on August 15th as a way to celebrate and shed light on diversity. The bar is basically
That seems like a lovely idea.
Okay. The bar, I agree. So far, so good.
Right.
The bar is basically 4 different chocolate bars in one and moves in a gradient from dark chocolate to blended chocolate to milk chocolate to white. There's no longer a need to buy various chocolate bars. Not that they'll judge you for that. You can now buy one that has all the flavors you want. It was made to represent a rainbow of brown, a giant bouquet of mother tongues, a churling confluence of cultures, according to Design Taxi, the people that I believe designed it. And obviously, India is super diverse. But all it's done from the day it came out has been mocked endlessly on social media. And I have some of these quotes, which I think are funny.
Do tell.
So, Prasanth Rao says, if only at some point in the last 72 years, someone had thought to launch a 4-in-1 chocolate bar. All of India's religious, cultural, caste, and linguistic issues would have gone away. And then Imandi Gandhi says, this is absurd as Kendall Jenner fighting police brutality with a Pepsi. If you remember, she did some ad where she was basically saying that, have a Pepsi and it's going to end and stop all police brutality against
Right. I think it was the cop was like harassing a person of color and Kendall Jenner walked up to the cop with a Pepsi and everything was fine. It was something like that. Yeah.
Oh, God. So we hope as you enter the fall that you go forth with all this vital information.
Yeah. We will be back in probably next year with another Hot Topics. We will keep you posted on what is going on.
If you get any information on any of these news issues, please report them post haste to our website. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.